Hey guys, I'm from Team Soulforge here, and as I said in the Angular video, here is my Gaia profile. This is a the Angular is more competitive. This is more of a casual build, but not the budget build, which is Ancient Dragons, which I will maybe get a video out for that if you would like to, but that's all that. So on with what we have here. So we start with maximum Kano. Jeez, I'm calling him maximum Kano for a little while. So minimum Kano, standard starter, draws and gives you an order. On to the grade 3s, we are running 4 Gaia. The main grade 3 of this build, this is where it all centers from. During your turn, any unit with a gauge gains 5k. If your opponent's grade 3, gains 10. And when this guy attacks, you can blast 1 and retire a rear guard, and it gains the power of that unit. And if your opponent is all on grade 3, it also gains the critical. So this is really a going second deck. Ideally, you want to go second, get as much power as possible, which seems to be the case with Tachikaze recently. And the other is 3 tether. Really great skill. Starts off the same as Mega Rex. When it attacks the rear guard, you can retire. When it attacks the Vanguard, you retire a rear guard to draw a card. And this guy, if you retire with him, if you retire a rear guard, one of your rear guards with a gauge, you get to retire one of your opponent's rear guards, which is actually quite nice. It helps a little with stopping intercepts and doing and getting other things and all that. So on to the grade 2s. With Regidon, and I will actually bring in Blue Sprint as well in the grade 1 slot, because these two have exactly the same skill. So for both of them, when they attack on Van or Rear, when they attack, you can give a gauge to a rear guard, and when retired from a unit's ability, one of your unit's abilities, with a gauge, when it's got a gauge, you can call out that unit and gauge the unit you called. Definitely a 4 of in Gaia builds right now. I doubt they'll ever be removed unless something comes along that's better. So those both in at 4. Next, we have Mega Rex at 3. Same initial skill as Teller. When it attacks the Vanguard, retire a rear guard, draw a card. But in this guy's case, if he's on the rear guard, you can blast 1, and you can give himself a gauge, and he gains 5,000 for each of his gauges when you add that gauge for the end until the end of that battle. Really good attack outlet for Reggie, and Blue Sprint for multi-attacks, and really a really solid choice. Probably a staple in Gauge builds until forever, I reckon. Next up is 3 tether. Dial Pyro. 1 place from hand, CB1, draw a card, call a card. And you can gauge it as well. There is no restriction on what you can call, so you can call out a tether. If I am wrong, please let me know. But this is a really good thing. The strangest thing is I've been in playtesting, I've been able to get this out and have this in hand straight away. This deck is actually not really that heavy on counterblast, but it's really, really good. It's a really good grade 2 ride. On it, and his other skill is when it comes out from the gauge, he gains an extra 10k. Really good for kind of like going for what we're doing. And finally, 2 Bomb Raptor. The reason I chose this is because you've got tether skills, and Reggie and Blueprint don't have to attack the Vanguard, so you can attack a rear guard, gauge itself, or gauge this guy, giving him an extra 5, giving him an extra 10, possibly 15, maximum 20k from his own skill, and the gauge from Blueprint with Gaia when your opponent's on grade 3. A really good kind of pressure card for mid to late game. It's a solid pick. I've seen other cards being used, but I went for Bomb Raptor for the kind of stuff that we've got. And carrying on with the grade 1s, obviously we have 4 Blueprint, and also 4 Prison Bird. It's a must. It's absolutely fantastic. When placed from hand, check top 5. It's the grade 2 setter. Check top 5. Grab grade 3. If you do, discard. And this guy's plus 5k skill is the first time you gauge a unit, he gains 5k. Yeah. So the wording is a little unusual, but it just applies once. It is thought. I did think that it could be like a gains massive, could have gained massive numbers, but it's only, as far as I know, it's only once per turn. If I'm wrong, please let me know. Okay, next up, 3 Sonic Noah. Again, a staple for gauge builds, in my opinion. When it boosts a rear guard, that you give that unit a gauge. This is mandatory, and on hit, either when it attacks or boosts, you can retire rear guard to draw a card. This goes very well with the 2 multi-attackers. It's absolutely fantastic. Something that I've kind of really gotten fun with. And finally, for my grade 1s, 3 Lacerate. This is a definite solid card for this. It's always good to have. And if you are able to get this and Prison Bird obviously going second, you can get some really decent numbers, because this is a mandatory. It's a mandatory gauge. So ride Prison Bird, do his skill, call down Lacerate. His skill goes off, giving Prison Bird an extra 5k, so you're attacking for 13, 20, 21, which is actually a really good thing to do, which is a really high number. His second skill is when he is retired, Soul Blast and get gauge to hand. Another good thing to go with Gaia and Tether and all that stuff. All the retiring stuff. It's just really, really fun. And finally, the trigger lineup is 8 crit and 4 draw and 4 heals. The reason I've gone for the 8 crit, 4 draw and splitting the Sentinels, these units will generate a lot of power off either their own skills or with Gaia giving them the extra 5 or 10k. And obviously it doesn't need that much card draw, because you're wanting to gauge more than draw. You've got enough cards to kind of get you what you need to get. And the reason I've split the Sentinels is just to kind of give me more variation. Obviously, you need 2 cards for the Sentinel. Being able to throw down a single 30k shield is absolutely fantastic on really high numbers. But yeah, this is what I have decided. On other things, I was toying around with a few other cards in the grade 2 slots. I was thinking of Tether being the double crit. I think it's not Tether. Or Dimetro Spark being the 2 crit guy. okay-ish, but that's more for... I mean, there is... I did think of that having a utility in this deck, but it really didn't. Another card that is a potential for things, but I've gone around. I've had opinions. Having Demetra Spark and one other card was Mercenary that I ain't even considered, and that was kind of meh. I took some advice. I tried them out, took them out. They were good in theory, but not in practice. I am looking forward to what's coming. As a little extra, I'm looking forward to what's coming in the future. I may do a video on that, and also, like I said, in Angleblade video and this, maybe do a Ancient Dragon profile. And I will do some premium profiles in the future. So, with all that being said, if you want to give me any advice or anything to kind of like any advice or any choices, just let me know. And until the next one, bye.